All right. It's that time again. It's Monday night, live in the Counselor's Corner. Time for another open court discussion. I am your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Controversial Counselor. Joining me as my co-host, the Big Bad Wolf, Herb Lewis.
The big bad wolf was on assignment tonight. He's got a hot
Okay,
date
I forgot
apparently, so he's
Ron
stuck to
C.
me.
Washington.
Yeah, so hi there.
Oh man, the panel will be what it's going to be. Look like we have Sweetie, I guess, Anita Baker. I'll bring her in shortly. But tonight, Monday, September 30th, the topic will be dating disasters. Who is more likely to get burned? Yeah, you heard it. Both men and women face unique challenges in dating, and it's difficult to say who has it harder. However, here are some common difficulties each may experience. Men, social pressures to initiate and pay for dates. Yeah, I know. Y'all see the videos, the clips, women talking about they don't do what is it? What's the spot?
50
The,
50.
yeah, 50-50, or the little spot that it was popular, and she said she don't go to the
Cheesecake
I can't,
Factory.
Cheesecake Factory, things like that, which isn't a bad restaurant, but you have people stunting. Also, uh, fear of rejection or being ghosted, stereotypes and expectations around masculinity. Here's a few for women: safety concerns and potential harassment, societal expectations around beauty and physical appearance, and pressure to be nurturing and emotionally available. Oh boy, those are separate broadcasts by themselves. Each of those. This can and will get hot and heavy. But remember, please like and share our video, and don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. Folks, we are still at 913 subs. This final road to 1K is going to be tough as hell, but we will get there. But I need your help. So, all right, good people, we here live in the counselor's corner on Monday night. I'll go with you, Ron C. Washington, and then come back to me. What's going on? What's good with you, brother? Pimp
Well,
Juice.
as long-time viewers will probably see, the big bad wolf been tripping, man. I don't know what his thing was with that couch, but as y'all can see, it's gone.
Hmm.
We had to make a little adjustment here. So no longer is the couch vertical, it is laying horizontal. Another tweak we had to make. So, when he get back, he's gonna be a little upset, how he is about his furniture and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
I,
Mm-hmm.
I got to make a transition because I can't rock like that. But everything's everything, man. Plans are falling into place. Weight loss is continue to descend, shall I say? So I'm down to beneath the 265 mark on the march to 210. So that's pretty much it. But regarding this topic, man, I saw the video posted by none other than Darren Ren Sneed. Shout out to Mr. Sneed there in the counselor's corner. See, people, we do watch. Got to post, even if you don't appear. We use your material, and in the video, if you haven't seen it, was a montage. I shouldn't say a montage. It was a skit two between two people, obviously a man and a woman. And full disclaimer, I'm sorry if you live an alternative lifestyle. We are only discussing heterosexual things tonight. All right, people. If you're upset, I understand, but I'm not apologizing because that's the only lane that I drive in. So when I saw the video, I was like, you know what? That's a very good question. So in addition to what David read, I'm going to add a couple other things, that the perspective ginger says. Pardon me. I'm gonna start with the men first. Kids, whether he's a single parent, David mentioned the economics, stereotypes. One thing we really don't consider is disabilities. Now, disabilities can cover a wide range of things. Socially awkward, might have a physical disability, might have a mental disability. And somebody will say, well, why would I want to date somebody with a mental disability? What do you think anxiety is? Anything along those lines can be considered a disability by some. So just keep that in mind. David mentioned expected to maintain social mores. Location, for some, it's a problem, whether they done made a name for themselves that isn't good or bad. And the unwritten one that happens to impact this gender more so than this era more so than it does our era when we were growing up, social media. That's a huge one. Incels are men who claim to be happily single. Ghosted being catfish and approach anxiety. David mentioned that as well. So all of those are things that generally disproportionately affect men, or they affect men. I won't say disproportionately. Now we're gonna switch to the women. Economics, always front and center. Single parents. A lot of men don't want to date women who are single parents. That's something we've had explode on this platform for long-time viewers, and you know how that went. There was some lot of hurt feelings behind that one for some long time to come. Long-term commitment. Women seem to want long-term commitment, and men are giving it up. Why is that, fellas? Y'all owe us an answer. Ron's listening. Ethnicity. Some people can date out. Some people don't want to date out. Some people can't date out. We don't know why. Pregnancy. It's always a concern for women. Always a concern. Physical appearance. Stereotyping. All or nothing. Disability, of course. Women want to adhere to the old style mores. They don't want to be modern women. They want the money, but they don't want the responsibility. Is it wrong? This is a choice. For men, and I didn't include this, the barrier to entry. What that means is this: what is the bare minimum that an individual needs to be able to date successfully? All right. Location, social media, themselves, females who in there, happily single. We see that a lot nowadays, especially in the counselor's corner. Women talking about, I don't need no man, I can provide for myself, yada yada. All right, maybe they can. Maybe it's a facade. Are they capping? And then for both genders, that yin yang thing, failure to understand the other gender, their needs, their wants, or that particular woman or that man's needs, wants. And then, of course, being ghosted. I believe I said that. So those are the long and short issues each gender faces. Dig in, people. We got a smorgasbord tonight.
All right, all right. To go back to, I got any housekeeping things? Nah, same old thing, same old. I mean, during the school year, what my life consists of is just things are, being ran amok at the school level, and a lot of times, I hate to say it, I contribute a lot of it, and I've mentioned this before from one of my old supervisors, and he said most uh, most kid mistakes that they do are made from adults making bad decisions, and a lot of times that may be the case. You just see it. You see it every day. Like, what is going on with some of these young people? Just the whole fact that it's a brand new school and it's 8:05 and you see breakfast stuff thrown on the floor already. Like, where do you do that at? You just walk, eat, and then throw your stuff on the floor. So it's a lot going on, and just period. Just too much, and I ain't gonna even get into all the details, but it's a challenge. It's been a challenge. Got to buckle up, and just remember this: it doesn't matter in this day and age. Brand new school, a brand new complex, uh, brand new townhouses don't mean anything. Don't equate to always positive behavior, because all it takes is a few no goods to get in those areas, and it's no different than any other area. So that's what we're facing, and it's frustrating because you want to go to work, or you want to be in your community, you want to be at peace, but few people, they just didn't get the memo or haven't been taught certain things to try to transition or kind of work their way into what many people may think, look at as a normal way of life. But like I said, all it takes is a couple people with a different way of living, and they come in and infiltrate. Then you just got total chaos. So it's it's middle school. It's chaotic. It's a lot going on. Nothing that I can't handle, because to me, after being in 30 years in education at all levels, and working in multiple human service platforms, seen it all, did it all. But you know, you start getting a little older, you have your tolerance may become a little lower. So that's where we're at. But this subject, you know, kind of ties in to that as well. Like when you think about the long
Yeah.
run, when you connect two people together, and if they don't have the same beliefs or belief systems, then it's gonna you're gonna run into problems. What's going on, Doctor Daphne? Thanks for joining us tonight. Miss Anita is back. You got any opening comments you want to talk about?
Hello. Nothing new is
Good evening.
happening. Same old, same as last week. Getting ready for the fall. That's it.
All right. So when we go back to this subject, and the title is "Dating Disasters," who is more likely to get burnt? And we talked about some of the pressures men go through, women, and some of the shared challenges. Well, we can begin with men, then we could go to women, and we could go piggyback back and forth, or men, women, then the shared ones. But let's start off with social pressure to initiate and pay for dates. And in this day and age, a lot of times we talked about this too. That some men don't have any conversation. They don't know how to initiate to start a date, or even may get the date, but then when they get on there, they don't have shit to talk about because they're so used to texting or getting in somebody inbox. But then when the lights get bright and that woman say, "Yeah, I agree. I'm on. We gonna go out," and then it's time, and you under those bright lights. Some men fold, or they keep coming at someone saying they want to take them out. A woman decides to say, "Yeah." Now you're concerned about, and now you throwing it out there. Well, would you like to go eat? And then she comes with this place that shit is quite expensive, and your pockets don't roll like that. Now you're in a jam. And now you saying, "Damn, I like her, but I can't keep this up." I started off trying to be the big be the big boss, and went to this fine restaurant where it cost a lot. Now, her expectations may be shit. Well, I'm not gonna go backwards, so let's move forward. Now you're in a bind. So some guys have to deal with those pressures or dilemmas, and it could be quite challenging, especially if they're, dating multiple, not at one time, but just trying to figure out who they want, and they dating a couple people, keeping their options open. Well, that shit gets expensive. It get
Mm.
expensive if you call yourself going out on dates 2, 3 times a week. Yeah, shit, you giving all your check away to dates.
Just like that.
Yeah.
So people, if especially for men, you're going to be looked at and just so we have a frame of reference in terms of ages and dating. We're talking about from 18 to roughly 59. Most of those people are probably in some iteration of some form or another are dating. People who are actively dating to get married, well, that can vary too. And that's one of the first things that a lot of people need to address, particularly women. But we're talking about men, so we'll stay there for a moment. Why are you dating? Who? And David just talked about location, and Dr. Daphne has just said, get creative, plan things. This gives you the ability, and I know people aren't going to like this word. This gives you the ability to dictate where you go on a date. And fellas are going to say, well, what if she doesn't go on a date? Or what if she doesn't like it? What if she wants to go somewhere and do this? Well, you have the power of saying no. We're not going to do that. And if she bucks, get rid of her. It's as simple as that. You have to be, the power for men is in the ability to say, mean, and adhere to the word no. You're going to know immediately if she's on your program, or at least if she's willing to follow your program. And people might say, and guys might say, man, I wanna bang shorty out, man. She this, she that, she got the fat this, she got that. All right, then you got to pay. As Coach Greg Adams say, she ain't out of your league, she just out of your price range. So, hey, you might have to go put in a shift or two overtime. Hey, I'm shouting the man out. That's his line. She ain't out your league, she's out your price range. And he says that about every woman. And I got to
Who
agree.
says that?
Coach Greg Adams. He goes by the
Don't
name
know
of
who that is.
he has several names. I'll drop one of his clips because he does pretty much like we do. He does long form content, but he breaks his up into several different categories. And I admit his stuff is it's informative, funny, and it's entertaining. So he does well. He's been demonetized like 12 times, I think he said, which is insane. And he's still out here banging out games. So shout out to CGA. But if that's the case, man, pick up some overtime, get a side hustle, get a gig. They start putting money. You know how that chick is rolling. So put some money aside. If you want to play in that lane, you got to pay. It's as simple as that. She letting it be known from day one. This is how she get down. If you can't make her buck and walk to your game or dance to your song, you got no choice. If you want them goodies, you got to pay freight rate. So you got to pay to move that freight.
Gotta
So
pay
I
to
call it
play.
freight rate. Yeah, it's not. Hey, he might not even get to play, but he's still gonna pay.
No money, no honey.
Hey, no money, no nothing. The hell with honey. He might not even get to smell the perfume she wearing. He might not even get to see the fake eyelashes she might wear. He may not get to see any of that. So he might be SOL. So hey, it's the barrier to entry, like one of the things I mentioned. So hey, you gotta pay, man. Get your weight up. Get your pockets right. Make sure they're deep. And hey, and if she isn't the type of female who wants to go to a nice restaurant, she might want to, as David has always talked about it, sipping dips. Lunch, it's the perfect time. Hey, you may only have 45 minutes. You may only have time for a quick Yogi Bear picnic basket, a couple finger foods, and she might have to run back to work. So just say, hey, look, come meet me at this amusement park. We might do a couple holes of putt golf. I might throw back a drink and get you out of here and going back to office. Now, just imagine that, fellas. You get this female out. She's stressed for half a day of work. She come through. You got a nice little bottle of pineapple Ciroc, or maybe a nice little glass of Chablis. I don't know what's your proclivity. Me, I got a couple of different ways I can go right now. I'm enjoying my Bombay Sapphire with some lemon water, various other things are diffused in here. So I don't know. Hey, what you doing? Hey, but you got to put something together. Daphne said it. Put something together, man. Don't be like everybody else. Be like me. Be like Ron. Be unique, creative. Do something that she has never ever experienced before, and I guarantee you, she's gonna remember you. Now, whether you get to clap them cheeks, in short time, I don't know. But hey, if that's your goal, keep her guessing. Keep her on a hot foot. Keep her wondering. And for those of you who don't know
That
what to
sounds like
say,
mind
or
games.
I'll address that in a moment. For those of you who don't know what to say, how to do, we've often talked about in the man that belongs with the ancestors, Alan Roger Curry. Go learn how to speak to women. Especially if you're younger, put this goddamn thing down. It stops you from using this. Unless you're looking into ways to woo somebody or to do something that has never been done before, put that down because you're not getting no real ideas. You want some real ideas? Go talk to some OGs. Go ask a random woman what she would like to do for an expensive date. The world is your proving field. Use it. Abuse it, hell, if you have to. But the answers are out there. You just got to go seek and find. You got to. So, I mean, that, that's how you can address that in terms of her wanting, that next level experience or that high end restaurant. If she's worthy of it, and you deem she's worthy of it, because at the end of the day, if you paint, you're the only one that really matters. Go ahead and do what you got to do, but that's how it is.
Now, Daphne also made some good points. She said women have to be realistic too. If you can't afford the place you're trying to go to, why run the man's pocket? I used to be a conscientious woman when dating. She said, I advise that men and women date who you're accustomed to. Yeah, sometimes people get out of their league. And, and I think a lot of times, if guys know they're out of their league, unless they just that one who got that tremendous, they're well schooled from big brothers, uncles, OGs, and they may be out of their league, like maybe intelligent wise, but their street smarts and common sense and experiences could get them further than, hey, a well educated man or some man that's financially better off. But if that's not the case, then you got some work. You got some work to do. But in other words, yeah, you probably should know your personnel and date who in your range or what you feel comfortable, uh, who you feel comfortable being with. And I know sometimes you say, hey, I want to elevate, I want to do something different. But what have you done to yourself for elevation to make you go out there and get something different? So no matter what, at the end, work has to be put in. She said, but it's hard for them to maintain, and they don't want to learn their personnel. True, it's true, and that's just about paying attention to
Mhm.
details, which a lot of times people lack.
That's
That's
true.
another thing I had. Go ahead, Anita.
I would prefer a first date, depending on if I've known the person or just met them, to be coffee, not at Tim Hortons, because that's not a relaxing environment. Too loud. You got to consider the environment of like a coffee date. I prefer somewhere nice, like Spot Coffee. It's better than Starbucks. It looks more classy than Tim Hortons and Starbucks, and it's about the same price as Starbucks. But anyhow, I went on that tangent. So yeah, that's nice for a first date. You can talk. They have like little couch and tic-tac-toe with wooden stuff, just kind of be interactive and vibe if you guys vibe, and then end the date if you guys aren't vibing. I don't particularly like a dinner date for a first date if I don't know somebody. That's taking up my evening time where I could be cleaning or cooking or spending time with Buddy or other things. So also, I really don't, sometimes I like to be asked what I want to do, and certain dates. But a lot of times, like Daphne said, I like a man to be creative. Now, I believe that you can get more out of a conversation, not by asking questions, but just having a casual conversation. You don't have to ask a whole bunch of questions. You just listen, hear what they're saying. For instance, if I have a conversation and I'm like, yeah, I saw this thing on Facebook. It's the Candlelight, orchestra. I don't know if you guys seen that on Facebook, the ad, but it looks real nice, real classy. It's not that expensive. I mean, that wouldn't be an ideal thing for a first date, but after you're dating for a while, I think it would be nice to share that with somebody. I mean, and then for inexpensive dates, like dates don't have to be expensive. If you have a female that wants to be in your pockets and you don't have that kind of pockets, you may want to reconsider what kind of female you're getting into. Like at this day and age, it's hard. I think it's hard for most people. The money thing, finances, most people are on a budget, and I think you should be considerate of those things when you first start dating. I'm not going to order the most expensive thing on the menu. I'm going to order what's in the price range of what you get, because I think that's fair, that's considerate. So in any case, I was reading this thing. It's from some project, I don't know, modern project, whatever. Anyway, it says about dating, the hypocrisy of dating. Men want women to be sexually available, but also don't want them to be promiscuous or easy. It's the whole, she should be willing to sleep with me early on, but she shouldn't have done that with other guys. Again, make it make sense. Men don't want to.
Let me ask you a question then regarding that. Why is that important?
I'm not done.
No, I'm aware of that, but I'm asking you. You mentioned that, and I want you to explain to people who are listening, especially the men, why that's important.
Why it's important to know that?
Yes. Why do you think it's important for men to understand the complexities that women face in terms of the sexual expectation?
The expectation, because it's a lot of pressure. Like, yes, most women like sex, just like men like sex, but also I see a lot of comments on here about body count. Oh my God, at almost 50 years old, are you really asking about body count? But in any case, so the men want women to be sexually available. Okay, I just said women like sex just like men, but they don't want them to be promiscuous. Okay, just because a woman is sexually available to you and we're dating doesn't mean that we're promiscuous. So men have this unrealistic expectation of, okay, yeah, I want her to be into me, but I feel like she shouldn't have done that before me. What, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, you are who you are, and but the one thing is, every guy wants to feel like they're that stud, like they're the first, like they're the big dog, like and they're the reason why you were able to open up to them. So in their heads, they'll concoct those type of that type of scenario, but knowing might have been 5, 10 other people just in the same similar situation as you. So, but again, people want to be valued and want, just like women, they want to be like they got that the best honey, sweet honey pot ever, that they can make a man change or do something different or take him out of his element because they want to be viewed as unique and different. So both genders do it in their own way.
Okay,
Let me
so
go ahead, Anita.
so
Go ahead.
to read on, men also don't want to deal with the responsibilities that come with sleeping around, pregnancies, STDs, emotional attachments, etc. Yet they expect a woman to go on birth control, have abortions, and not get too attached so they can enjoy their fun in the bedroom and not have to deal with the consequences. Men, that's not a good look.
Let me ask you a question. Go ahead.
So
Go ahead, Anita.
again, men have this expectation, and it puts a lot of pressure on a woman. What if women don't believe in birth control? They can't take birth control. What if they want to have an emotional relationship? And you're sending the vibes where, yeah, we're vibing, feeling you. We're both in that emotional state, but then he's like, oh, pump the brakes. You're getting too attached. But he just said he's looking for a solid relationship. So, yeah, in that aspect, men can be very confusing when it comes to a relationship. And as far as have abortions, well, look, both people know the consequences of having sex. It only takes one time. If both people aren't willing to deal with the consequences, then y'all shouldn't be sexing. So that.
All right. Shout out to my man Randy. What's up, Randy? He said a real man takes care of his responsibilities. Anytime you lay down, there was a possibility of having a baby. It's true.
Correct.
It's true. You know what you're getting into.
Right. And
no
as
matter-
far as the, like I said, have an abortion, I would believe in, I believe in pro-choice. It's every woman's choice, but I am on the side of pro-life. Under certain circumstances, I can understand, but I mean, whether I'm going to be a single mother or terminate the pregnancy, I'm the one who's going to have to deal with it no matter what I choose. So I would advise women just to have that baby.
Well, I don't know. For any of us to be giving anybody decisions or advising them.
Well, that would be my suggestion. How about that?
Well, let me intercede here. Let me ask you a couple of questions before I make a statement. Who if you can find out who was the author of this list. And number two, you said that it would be your I won't say responsibility, but it'd be your you would have to handle this or an unplanned pregnancy. If would you have to handle it alone, or are you just saying that that might be the situation that a woman has a situation that has befallen a woman?
I mean, yeah, we hear all the time about how men look down on single parents, women, but even if the man does stay with that woman, there's no guarantee that he's always going to feel that way. And ultimately, women have to take care of the baby before it's even born. We have to take care of our bodies, make sure we're eating right, exercising. Don't eat this, eat that. Don't take this medicine, blah, blah, blah. So ultimately, we are the first nurturer and caregiver to the baby. It's an emotional roller coaster when you're pregnant. Hormones up and down. And then when you have the baby, some women get postpartum depression, which I heard was like a whole new animal in itself. So, and then on the other hand, not having it still causes long-term emotional consequences that a man can listen to them, but all in all, he can't experience those. And yet a man can experience termination in an emotional different way than a woman can long term.
We're just trying to touch on some points, not to go into too deep and with abortions and all of that.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, that's a whole nother subject area.
I'm just saying that is part of the difficulty of dating long term in the long run.
Well, but see, that's slow down right there. You said long term. We're just getting to the point of people who are actually trying to date. Let's take the potential of an unplanned pregnancy or pregnancy off the table just for this particular point that we are at right now. We're not saying that is not a possibility down the road. We're just talking about two people who are just may have exchanged glances at Trader Joe's or Wegmans or any other places that people just might be going by, and they say, hey, you know what? I like the cut of your jib. I like that sundress you wear. How do we progress to the next step to get to the coffee date or the Cheesecake Factory or TGIF or any of those other places before we start to worry about all of that other stuff? Because that's valid.
Because that's why I started. I said social pressures for men to initiate and pay for dates. So all of a sudden, you talking about abortions and all of that stuff. We ain't even got there yet. We ain't even got to the woman's side yet.
I was saying that was part of the hypocrisy in that little excerpt I read.
Yeah, but find out who the author of that is. And for fellas, I want y'all to understand something that she said, and Uncle Ron's gonna give you some game. In terms of body count, if it's going to matter, you will find out how good she is, how bad she is, how experienced she is, or how experienced she is. Enjoy the journey. Stop worrying about the destination, because if you're destined to be there, you're going to get there. Take it from Uncle Ron. I'm telling you. But plan. Stop putting expectations on yourself. Stop putting them on the individual that you're dating. Just go out and be you now. the question some men might have is, who am I? And that is what you have to develop. I know we don't talk about personal development on this particular platform in terms of a man to figure out who he is, because if you don't know who you are, then how are you going to sell yourself to a woman on what you are, what you can do, who you can be? Because she's looking. And if what she see does not measure up to what she's thinking, we know women have a million miles in thoughts, and the synapses light up like a Christmas tree. They got the wedding plan. You see what Anita's talking about. They got the wedding plan, the house purchase, the car, college education paid for, and you just said hi.
Why did you
You
say
just
all
said
that?
hi there. No, I'm
You
just saying.
damn near went.
No, I did not.
First of all, let me read Randy's comment. He said, I think it's about what you can handle. If you're into somebody and it doesn't matter who they were with, I wouldn't even ask the question. Everybody has the right to feel good and feel loved. If it feels good, roll with it. Love the one you're with. And you could take that approach, but then I think for some guys I think it's what they share with other people. And if you like in a small town and you're from your hometown, and I think you brought this up about a month ago, Herb, you was like, how did you word it? You said there's like the private kind of reputation, and then there's
Public, yeah. Oh yeah.
public reputation. And I think some guys feed into that, and they overshare situations with guys, just like women overshare with their friends. Sometimes when you get older, just gotta keep shit to yourself. You just gotta move in silence, and because people can deter you, which could be a good thing, and they could bring up shit that was from when that person was 16, 17.
Yeah.
Now you're
Everyone thinks
50.
about it.
Yeah, now you're 50. What the fuck is that to talk about? And that's the importance of know who you sharing with, know who you talking to. Not everybody you hang with gets the same level of conversations. Some people are you hang with because they funny as hell and they bring you laughter. Some people are the ones that's pushing you, like, yo, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to stay on top of that. Some people just there, they just, they just good listeners. They don't say shit. They just listen. You can vent and they just roll with it. They may offer you some. They don't pass no judgment or anything. So you got to find a balance of people that you hang with. It'd be nice if you could have just had that one person, but that's asking too much. So many guys say, well, that's the same thing with women. I need it all. So I need this from this person. I need this from that person. And that's when this dating thing, may collapse because they're looking for all of these different avenues or that. And instead of that one person, they trying to chase that silver bullet and get those different variables from multiple people, unfortunately.
Yeah. Let me read this. I found this kind of liberating, if you will. If we are dating, I want to be your second priority. I want your first priority to be you, your ambitions, your life, and your future. Stay focused. I want the best for you. Don't let me be your distraction. Let me be your motivation, your support, and help you grow. And I think sometimes when we date, regardless of your age, your gender, we place an inordinate amount of pressure on what we, the individual, want. That's not wrong. Okay, I want people to understand it's not wrong. But what it does it communicates to the individual that you're in the relationship with that they may not be important. They may not be important enough to take some time out of your whatever it is that you do in your day, your drive to communicate certain things. So I'm a proponent of putting yourself first. I put myself first in virtually everything I do without explanation, because if someone can't understand that, then I don't need to be with them. That doesn't mean they're a bad person. That just means we're not on the same page, because I like to say everybody's going to do what's in their best interest. And if I'm not going to use the word happy for me, but I'll use it for everybody else, because that seems to be the prevailing thought. If you want your mate happy, guess what you're going to do? You're going to do things to make them happy. It's not hard. But a lot of people won't sit down and ask the basic questions. They won't ask, what would bring a smile to your face? Don't ask about happy. Ask about what would bring a smile to your face. What is your ideal of something that you would consider to be romantic for women? Because men don't get that question asked. I'm sorry, men. It is what it is. Ask, if you had a bad day at work and you came home, what would you want? Ask, if you just received some bad news, what could an individual do to distract you from it, to ease your mind, to ease your angst? Those, I will tell you now, as a man, you should have in your toolkit something to address virtually every situation that you can potentially face in life. And this comes with development. I didn't always have it. Every day I'm looking to add something. Sometimes it's something quick. Sometimes it's something complex. There is an answer out there. Go find the answer. If you got to talk to your Uncle David, or to your Uncle Ron, or to some other OG, talk. Ask. Don't think you have to have the answer to every question and be responsible for addressing every situation. As Anita just said, listen. Sometimes that's all you got to do. And I'll reference a story told by Dr. Orion Taraban. His name is Orin, like the constellation, Tariban. He is a content creator, and he's also on YouTube. He runs the channel called Psych Hacks, just like it sounds. The word psych, Physc, and hacks, Hacks. And this man drops a wealth of information. And one of the things that he talked about was how Sigmund Freud got into being a psychologist. And he was with a female patient, and he was asking the questions, because as men, we tend to be analytical. We want to be problem solvers. And she said to him, can you just shut up and just listen? Light bulb went on. Freud started listening and stopped trying to solve problems. And sometimes that's all it is. Sometimes you just need to be a sounding board or a sponge to absorb the energies that she's giving off. And sometimes it can be that simple, and sometimes it may not be. Sometimes, hey, she may want you to play with her feet. She may want you to sit next to her while she's soaking in the bubble bath. Are those things that you're willing to do, or are those things that you are willing to learn how to do? Because I'll be the first to tell you, I don't like rubbing my feet. And the only bubble bath I want to be next to is the one that I'm sitting in. And yes, I've been known to take a bubble bath as a grown man. I believe in self-care. Sorry, fellas, if that rubs you the wrong way, but this is your big brother Ron speaking. Take care of yourself. Relax. Put yourself in the mood to where you can radiate. Because when you start radiating, guess what? People become attracted to that inner aura. They say, yo, he's so cool. He's so laid back. Does anything ever bother him? Like, does he ever get mad? Like, I've never seen him break character. I've never seen him curse. I've never seen him frazzled. That's because he's cool, calm, and collected. The C. Fellas, yeah, you gotta get right, because while she may have taken us to a point where we weren't ready to go just yet, those are all valid concerns for a female. So ask.
But before we get into those valid concerns of a female, I just want to start off with something as shit. Before that, safety concerns,
Mhm.
potential harassment. That's a grave concern for women in this dating game of, again, who are you actually dating? What's your limitations? What are you willing to do? Are you just limited? Okay, we need to be in a public place, or are you saying, hey, he says, I'm gonna cook you dinner, and you press for a good meal, and you go through, you pull up, or you know, this man, or you allow him to pick you up, and he knows where you live. Um, it's so many variables to that. So you just never know as far as the safety issues. So it's a grave concern for some women. Some women are rigid, like, oh, you can't come by, you can't, you don't need to know where I live. I'll meet you there. No, I'm not going in your house. And they may give people a time frame of when when that's going to happen, because shit is real out here.
Mhm.
Because some guys can't handle rejection because of trauma that they went through in their life, and if they feel, oh, I just spent this amount of money on her, I did this and that to try to get her, and you say, or you could be a woman saying, I'm just dating. You're dating, and remember, you're in a small town or whatever the case is, and this guy is spending. He putting out that money, doing this and that. Then there's some guy, again, got the mouthpiece, got the get the gab, got the swag. People know him. As Herb said, he getting those cheeks. He's getting those cheeks without doing much. Then you got this guy who's putting it all out, trying to have these elaborate trips and all that stuff, but he ain't getting nothing. He just know, he's showing her a good time, but she's not interested. And he finds out that, well, she might have told him like, date. I mean, I'm not in no committed thing, but essentially he gets upset or frustrated, like, and he hears that one guy, shit, he coming over there, or y'all alternate. Either he at your house, you at his house. But meanwhile, the other guy, he taking you this or there. When you broke, he's cash apping you money, doing this and that. But you giving somebody else the work. So that's when you have to deal with those harassment and safety issues, or whatever the case is. Because suddenly you like, yo, I could have swore looked out my window, I seen his car outside my house. Now he's stalking. I could have swear he was on my job. You guys can't handle rejection. Can't handle it. I always said, you deal with me and you try to demote me to Rizzo, we ain't got nothing to talk about. We ain't got nothing to talk about. I'm gonna go my way. You ain't got to fucking worry about me. No more. No more. After that. For demotion, nah. I don't I'm not gonna even get down like that. Especially if it was something, heated and all that. Well, I think we could just be friends and all that stuff. Huh? Nah. I ain't pressed for friends like that. So I'm not taking that L. Now, some guys they will settle for that role and say, okay, because they hoping that, okay, if she moved on to somebody else, and if that don't work out, she gonna need a shoulder to cry on. You ain't about to cry on these broad ass shoulders. You're not about to cry on these. Nope, not gonna happen. And I chronicle this, and I said it again. I don't do demotions, so you can stick a fork in it and say, "Damn, David was a good person to hang around with. He was a good person, whatever, to know." And I like to keep him around. What you think I'm about to come over? You about to move, and I'm gonna be moving your shit and all that? Fuck out of Dodge with that. That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah,
Bro.
fellas, it's hard. I will not say that it isn't for a lot of you. For me, I make it quite simple. There is a difference between being a unpaid sponge, if you will. And I'll get into that in a moment. An unpaid sponge, and they trick. Okay. Men who can afford to trick with multiple women, give up the money, and not expect anything from them are few and far between. I'm speaking of the real men out there who are doing that. The rest of you are sponges. It's just like David just alluded to. You waiting to see if you can be called as a pinch hitter role. And when you get up to the plate and you strike out, you don't know how to handle that. Don't. If you're not equipped to deal with certain things, especially when a female just flat out denies you because she's put you in a certain category, she slotted you as break in case of emergency, I need a shoulder to cry on, or I just need somebody who's going to tell me a funny anecdote that's going to pick me up, or I need somebody who's going to sit there and rub my feet while I'm in this bubble bath, even though the only thing that's covering me is suds. Hey, that's the role she's put you in. Either you accept that role or you move on. Either way, do it with grace. Don't make that chick regret, letting you, quote unquote, in her inner circle, or letting you in this circle of friends, or letting you do anything of that nature. Even if you happen to luck up and get the home plate, keep your mouth closed. Learn to take your wins and losses in private. Like David said, stop talking to everybody about what you do. Stop running to social media. Stop running to your friends. Stop. It should have never started, one. But two, it should have ended in high school. Because as things progress, you're going to get a reputation of being somebody who runs their mouth. And guess what women are going to say? I ain't doing nothing with him. I heard what he said about such and such. I'm not going to be that person that, that is made to look like this and made to look like that. You want to be on TV, man? Go ahead. Go. Sorry, people. Because women have a reputation and they do not want to be made out to be something that they're not. And even if they are, they still don't want to be exposed. So if a female out there and she running around and she dropping neck every other night with another guy, let that be her business. Because the only way you're going to get to be in the rotation and stay in the rotation is to keep your mouth closed. And I've said this a multitude of times. What you do in your bedroom is supposed to be your business and nobody else other than the person you're doing it with. As long as y'all consent, have fun. But don't be out there running your mouth, spreading innuendos and rumors and anything else. Leave that mess for the amateurs. It's not something you want to engage in. Trust me. I know some fellas who will miss out on some premium because they couldn't keep their goddamn mouth closed.
All right. So we're going to move on to shared challenges, communication, barriers, and misunderstandings, which is big. Communication is key. And, sometimes and we have different variations of communication in this day and age. Well, before you should be just you talk face to face, or you talk on the telephone. Now, text messages, FaceTime, um, all of these other, different methods. But at the end of the day, what people don't understand about communication is a rule 55, 38, 7. 55% of it is body language. So if you're texting and no one could, see you, and they just you could put capital letters and all that shit and whatever, but 55% of communication is body language. So when that 55-38-7 rule came in existence, it wasn't probably for this day and age, but you can tell by communicating on somebody's body language. Like, you may know when you say KYP, know your personnel, you may know, oh, this person, he angry. He's clenching his fist. He's gritting his teeth.
Mhm.
His legs is moving up and down. He's using his hands to talk or whatever, or vice versa with women. Even body language, when oh, this woman, she feeling me. What she's doing, she's twirling her hair, the way she positioning her body when she come talk to me. That's 55% of the body language. Then 38% is the tone. People don't understand tone is everything. Like the way you say things, the way you voice it, and the way people interpret it. So that's key. And then 7% of it is just actually what is said. And that's sad. Is actually what is
Yeah.
actually said and spoken. So communication is key. A lot of it, you may want to, when you're getting to know somebody, you may want a lot of those interactions to be face to face, so you can, feel. You look at observe their body language to kind of know, like, okay, this person's feeling me, they're not feeling me, or they're upset about something. I think I know that about this person, and you're trying to adjust and trying to get to know the person. But many of y'all don't know that. Y'all don't know about the 55-38-7 rule. Y'all don't.
Like I said, man, you better ask your uncles. Ask your uncles and the OGs. But to that, and I'm going to take this from the field marshal, Ron Wills. The only way you're going to develop being able to read body language among people, especially women, is to get out in the world and experiment. Get out into the world and put yourself in certain situations. Not necessarily directly, but indirectly. And you know what? That might be as simple as going down, like Anita said, to your local coffee shop and just sit back and observe. Carve yourself out about 2 hours. Go find a table by a window where there's a lot of traffic and just watch the interactions of people and watch across the age demographic from younger to older. Because I assure you that as people age, what they do changes. How they handle certain situations change. And that's not wrong. That's just a sign of a time. I no longer, case in point, I was going shopping this morning, catching the bus, and I'm outside at the bus station. And I'm eavesdropping because it's a lot of what I do. There's an older brother, I think he said he was 74, from Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. There's an older black woman, and she said she had graduated high school in Niagara Falls, and I'm not sure which one, because it could have been 4, given how old she was. So it could have been Niagara Catholic, Trot, Niagara Falls High School, or Laso Senior High School. Shout out to the Explorers. And they were talking about various things. Now, I didn't add anything to the conversation, even though I wanted to. I just sat back and listened. And he made a statement, and I went over and actually corrected him on the statement. I said, actually, what you said is kind of right, but it's inaccurate. So the Bills have been to 4 Super Bowls, they just haven't won one. It was well received, but the only way I knew what was going on was because I was eavesdropping. Sometimes that's your biggest asset, like David talked about. Only 7% of communication is actually verbal, but they were all relaxed. They were putting in input equally. Nobody was dominating the conversation. When he spoke, they listened. When they spoke, he listened. There was also a younger woman there. She, given the adornments she was wearing, I'll say that she had to have been younger than 26. So all those things come into play. You're dealing with two eras of people, Gen Z and baby boomer, maybe into the silent generation. I think it is. You have to be able to use the environment to get some things out of life. And what I mean by that is this. Let's say you're in a situation, whether you're male or female, and you hear a heated argument. And you think that a fight might start. What do you do? Do you intervene? Or do you get the hell out of Dodge? Or do you get to a place where if a fight starts, you're out of harm's way? I don't know what decision would be made by the masses listening. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to alert somebody, and then I'm getting to a safe distance, because I don't know if, especially nowadays with the proliferation of people carrying concealed or open carry, depending on your location, I'm not trying to be one of those people that get hit by a stray round. I don't want to be nowhere near. And David talked about safety. This should always be paramount when you're out, is your safety. The safety of you, the safety of the people you with. Safety should be always a constant. So even if you're ultra safe, it only takes an instant from something to go to good or from good to bad, and it can happen just that fast. So I'm always alert. Even when I travel, matter of fact, when I travel, I'm even more alert, because I've seen some things go from 0 to what the hell, just that quick. A lot of people. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
No, and I was just thinking about, because I've been having this conversation lately with, even people our age, with their fixation of being out at bars, spending crazy money, ordering food, and I'm like, man, we was before our time, old school days, like just having sessions, just having drinks, music, and chipping in, getting food, and maybe
Yeah.
increasing the population. You might add a few people on, like, yo, this is what we meeting up and this is what we doing, and just keeping everything simple. Uh, because like you said, in this day and age, with the increase of people having firearms, you don't want to be out there like that. You don't want to be out there like that, because you just never know. The words spread faster now in this day and age. All it takes is, oh, you got some guy or some girl out, young lady out with another man, and somebody snap a picture to her man,
Oh,
and he, you already know he a loose cannon. He headed up there, got the shit loaded, comes in there. Now you just an innocent bystander out to have some drinks, have some wings or whatever, and you get caught up in the crossfire. Uh,
mhm.
Behind that, People don't understand that. They don't understand that. Me, I'm always going to lean towards safety. Give me my people that I mess with some music, drinks, and food, and we might say, "Oh, I'm going to invite this person over. I got a couple people coming through. Oh, they work with you? Okay, that's cool. They come through.
Yeah.
Y'all done lost y'all damn mind in this day and age to be freelancing out here, to be freelancing. Then your ass end up getting in a fatal situation or paralyzed because you got caught with a stray bullet. Nah, I think my days like that, go out like that, is done. Like done. I like gatherings. I like stuff in people's
Yeah.
houses and all that
Yeah.
stuff. I ain't trying to be in nobody bar like that. Not at this time. I've done all I can with that and seen it all. And besides, you're looking at the same raggedy ass people every week. It ain't nobody like your Prince Charming or that queen coming through, and you're like, everybody like, yo, who that? Because best believe if somebody coming through like that, everybody flocking towards them. So what's y'all point? What's y'all point?
Yeah. Oh
Just
yeah.
like giving up money or just looking at the same raggedy snaggletooth people out at the same spot? Tell me what's y'all point.
Yeah. And to that, I'm in a subsequent podcast, I will be discussing how those particular situations and circumstances can be minimized greatly to the point where you can avoid them altogether. That's a different topic for another time. But yeah, location is always paramount. And I would tell fellas, especially if you go out of town, because now, with the advent of people liking to travel more, advanced scouting. Okay. If you with an individual that says, let's go here, the first thing you need to ask is, what kind of clientele goes there? And if somebody tells you it don't matter, I like to go, you got a problem. Because now you at a disadvantage. You going somewhere where you don't know the clientele, you don't know the layout, you don't know egress routes, you don't know anything. So if something pop off, what do? I'm not going. I'll tell you now. When we planned our family getaway, my younger brother, bless his soul, loving to death, he still likes to party like that. Not that he likes to get in trouble. He likes to party in unknown situations. And the older brother was like, no. We're not doing that. Too much to risk. We going somewhere where knuckleheads hang out, and in the place that we was in, them cats are known to carry. We was like, no, we ain't got it to give. We shut that right down. But that's what I'm talking about. You have to have the wherewithal and the knowledge to understand that every situation, while you're invited, might not be the situation you want to say, yeah, I'll be there. If it's not an intimate gathering where people are known to everybody that's there, or most of the people that's there, don't go. And if that means you got to sit at home with your cat or with your dog and be safe, be safe. Choose safety first, second, third, and last. We want you here. We want you to be able to watch us. We want you to subscribe to us. But you can't do that if you're in a hospital with a bullet wound. And trust me, that is not fun. And I'm not speaking from first-hand experience. I know a few people who have been shot. And to a man, they say, look, it's not good. So, yeah, put your safety out there, man. Put the safety of your people out there. It's always important. I mean, no matter where you go, no matter what you do. And I work midnights. And I would say roughly about 30 to 40, maybe upwards of 50% given my work week. If there's any call-offs, I'm by myself. So anything that moves, anything that makes an unfamiliar noise, I'm checking out. That's just how I am, because I've done safety, from a job perspective. So it's always, excuse me, always a concern of mine. Should always be a concern of yours. Don't put yourself in those situations. And if you're with a woman, make sure she's at ease. And I know some men are probably gonna say, well, why is it my job to make sure that she's at ease? Because, and I want men to understand this. If you get nothing else out of this particular stream, understand this. Because when you take her out, regardless of what she tells you, her safety should be your primary concern. Period. There's no discussions, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you want to run the show, then you run the entire show. So if she's not following you, that means you're not a man that's worthy of being followed. And if that ruffles your feathers, then your feathers be ruffled. Don't care. So make sure you know how to get the hell up out of there if something happens. And if you got to grab her, then grab her. Let her be mad, but let her be mad that she's safe. And if she's going to, and you might get one of them mouthy chicks, one of them uppity chicks that say, you didn't have to do all that. I know how to get up. Well, okay, you know what? You're right. See you. The leverage and the power you have is to say no and walk away. Don't involve yourself with somebody who's not going to listen, who's not going to do the right thing when it's time to do the right thing, because them motherfuckers will get you hurt. I kid you not.
So, as y'all see, it's been a lot of conversation in this last hour and 16 minutes, and we only talked about a couple points. But I do want to say, and I always want to acknowledge her. Shout out to my sister. She's still celebrating. Still her birthday. Yeah, 2 weeks later, she's still celebrating. I just got a damn picture on my phone I was looking at that she's still celebrating her birthday to September 30th. And y'all go ahead, do y'all thing. But I'm so damn happy September over with for the amount of birthdays that happened during this month. But the one thing I could say is every year she have like a little house party and start off slow, family and all that, and that shit turn into like a nightclub. But no one ever cuts up, really. No one ever cuts up because they know their personnel. Like, this ain't the place. This is not, they not about this. Coming here doing this. If we're going to fit in, we're going to come in here. It's going to be food for days. It's going to be drinks for days. It's going to be music. And everything going to be in harmony. She does that. For example, I ran into one of my former students. I hadn't seen him. Shit, I've been in Baltimore for 20 years. So I hadn't seen him in years. But when I was his advisor back in Bryan and Stratton, I always said, that guy has that like it factor. Like, he was that type of smooth type of dude. Like he gonna go places. He didn't know that I thought that, but he ended up at my sister's party, and I ran into him, and I told him, he's like, wow, I would have never knew that. And I was like, and I often thought, like, I wonder what, where you traveled, your paths traveled. And he was like, but he happened to come to the party with my niece and nephew, their uncle. And he was like, this shit, like, make sure I'm on the invite list every year. He's like, this is chill. He's like, because I know back in the days that Buffalo and Niagara Falls, it was always some animosity. Like, when I would and he might have dealt with some Niagara Falls girls, but when he came up here, like, it was people getting at him. He said, but it was nothing but love at this function, at this event, that everybody, they was giving me love. He was like, man, then I gave him extra love. Like, you ain't got to wait in no line to get a drink. The VIP, come to the back. I got you. But that's what I'm talking about. Safety. And that's part of Maslow, hierarchy of needs. People want to feel safe. If you don't consider people's safety, how much do you really care about them?
Yeah.
How much you really care. And for you women, when a guy is telling you, I don't think that's safe, I'm not feeling it, and you like to buck against you, don't get mad when he go elsewhere with somebody say, "Yeah, you got my back. You think it's unsafe, babe? I ain't going. I ain't going. Don't get mad. Some of y'all think y'all grown as hell and can do what you want, and you got to understand, most guys probably been out there in the world and travel and are able to travel and do things at a different rate than you are as a woman, because many of you may have the kids and you may be boggled down. Unfortunately, kids don't stop guys from being boggled down. If they home with their mama, they still may be out Monday night football, bowling, different leagues, dart leagues, pool leagues that they're part of. They kind of know the lay of the land. Yeah, I don't. But y'all get a point. Oh, my kid's grown now. I could do what I want. Your ass about 20 years behind. You 20 years behind how it was. The time you got out, shit is different now. But y'all you trying to play catch up. Sometimes you can't play catch up. You just got to let it go by. Like I missed that time, unfortunately. But the bottom line, you always want to be safe. You want to live to see another day. And that's the most important thing. So that
we often talk about what submission looks like. And a lot of people get offended, both sides. Well, I don't have to follow what he says. I don't have to do what she suggests. I was at work this weekend and there was a wedding. Older couple in their mid-50s sitting down discussing how they're going to get home. I guess, and I'm going to assume that the couple was married. Caucasian older couple. Heterosexual, of course. And the lady, I overhear, like I said, I eavesdrop. I overhear the lady says, hey, look, why don't we leave the car here, take an Uber home, we can come back in the morning when you're sober, and we can get the car. You know what the first thing that popped in my head was? She's responsible. Now, I don't know what decision they ultimately made, but that let me know that she had their safety in mind. And we always talk about what does submission look like for a man. Prime example. Now, this was months ago that we talked about this, and here's an example in real time. So, fellas, when we tell you these things, it's not that we're trying to bullshit you guys. We're trying to give you the benefit of the experience that we have, we know, and we've seen. So we can see you again. Because we're not talking about things that aren't preventable. There's just going to be some things that happen that's just to say, you know what? It must have been willed that way. We're talking about the things that are preventable. You getting in a needless accident because you weren't smart enough to say, you know what? I have one too many. Let me give these keys to somebody else, or let me take an Uber or a taxi, or whatever the case was. Let me get a hotel room and sleep this shit off for a few hours, and then I can go home when I'm in a better state to drive. Those are all things that need to be considered. And granted, we're talking about dating, but if you go out, let's say you meet a female and she's cool, she vibing with you, y'all been on date number 4. She's in the boxing. Shout out to Dave. Dave says, all right, you know what? Let's go to the bar. Let's get some wings. See a dude next to you, he throwing them back. You're like, damn, sitting there. And she's saying, babe, I got a question for you. Do you think that man should drive? Now, she's not asking for him. She's low-key asking for herself, because if that situation ever arises where David's had one too many, what is he going to do? She's shit testing you, but you don't even know. And this is a good shit test. I'm not for shit tests, but I am for tests that engage what you might do in a certain situation. And if you answer wrong, guess what? Check him, tell him, says, I can't trust him with my well-being, because he might get drunk and he might want to drive and he's not going to listen to me. And we end up in a car wreck and I can end up paralyzed. I got a little one at home. I got a job I need to go to. We not married. Is he going to pay my bills? Yes, I said it. Is he going to pay my bills?
And I think to piggyback on that, and sometimes I think about like sometimes men may say to women, like, they had a crew of friends or people they roll with, and you may say, your behavior be a little off with that. I don't like I don't necessarily like you out like with them at a certain time. Y'all do too much. And
Yeah.
either she could take it or not. But at the same time, if you're a man and a woman tells you every time you and him go out, he like to get sloppy, pissy drunk, then you come in drunk. Hey, just be careful. I don't really like for you to go where y'all going. You can't take that as, oh, she trying to control you. It's about
Yeah.
safety. She's
Yep.
paying attention to the situation and knowing the personnel said every time. What's the best predictor of the future? The past.
Pass.
So she say every time this dude gets sloppy drunk, you come in sloppy drunk. So you don't think she gonna have concerns? So as a
Yeah.
guy,
Oh yeah. Especially if you're married.
as a guy, do you go off on her, or are you open to her feedback and say, yeah, you're right, babe. You're right. So I'm definitely not going to do this. We only going here. I'm going to check in with you. And if I'm nice, you can hear it in my voice. You come get me
Mhm.
or whatever the case is, and I'll walk away. And
Yeah.
that's interdependence. That's what it's about. But can we do that? Because a lot of times people are risking all just to be with their friends or whatever the case is, risk it all instead of saying, "Mm, sorry, I gotta go." My man told
Yeah.
he don't want me out here, being out here like that. I gotta go. We cool, but I don't plan on being with y'all like that for the rest of my life like that.
Yeah. Right.
And the same thing with men. Oh, you too cool? You want to be with your buddies and they convince you, then you end up losing her. Then your ass got blue balls. You sleeping on your hands. And remember, for some of y'all guys, we always talk about that. Some of y'all become at a certain age, you become real irrelevant. And we just thought, I think it might have been last week or whatever. Nobody ain't knocking at your fucking door no more.
Yeah.
And you had a good one. You let it go. And only thing she was concerned, it was about your safety. You make it home at one piece, but you still want to poke out your little chest and disagree. And you blew it. Guarantee. As a guy, when your days are numbered. Women know that too. They know by the vibe they get when you go out. As a
Mhm.
guy, when people look at you or they double take or you walk by and they look you up and down. Same thing with women. You walk by and the guy turn to you like, I know he looking at me. And you turn around, there he is staring. When them looks when people walk by you and they just keep going straight and they never even see you.
Break stride. Yeah.
Yeah, days is probably numbered. And sometimes if you got somebody, hold on tight. Hold on tight, especially if they're good to you. Y'all don't know. Y'all think y'all got all the fucking answers. And then y'all say, well, you and Herb, y'all not married. But trust me, and I'll say this again, and y'all like, oh, he cocky now. I'm very much relevant. Will always be relevant if it's up to me.
And to that, what David said, if I wanted to be married, guess what? I would be married. I just declined the situation. And I'm not saying this is recent, but I declined the situation in which I had, and this is something we talked about, whether we would relocate for love. And I said I would have had the circumstances been different. And for me, it was a matter of employment. Otherwise, I would have been married. But understand, being married doesn't exclude an individual from giving sage wisdom. And I want to talk about this comment that Denise Denise wrote. Sometimes people don't know that they are immature, and they are the last to find out. And when do they find out? When they made a fucked up decision that not necessarily hurt them, but it caused some harm to somebody else. So I'm always careful when I say when two mature people, because if you get two people who are on the same wavelength and they both think they're mature, but they're irresponsible as hell, did you got a whole lot of irresponsibility between two people. And this is why we get a lot of situations with broken families. Oh man, I was drunk that night. I thought I had a condom on, and she told me she was on birth control when she said she wasn't. And next thing you know, you get soft in the midsection, and she called you or text you. She said, "I'm late." You said, "Late for what?" "My period." You said, "Oh shit." This, and this is what Anita was talking about earlier. He said, "This isn't what I expected. I ain't signed up for no kid." And y'all texting back and forth. At that particular point, the texting should have stopped. You should have picked up the phone and had a voice. The 7% conversation is what I'm going to call it now. You should have had a 7% conversation. Should have had a 7% conversation so y'all could get on the same page, because clearly you weren't on that page before. And this is something we talk about. Hey, look, discuss these things up front. It can never hurt to have relevant information. It can only help. Don't let nobody tell you anything else. If somebody says, "Well, why do you want that information?" Because you tell them it's information. You're never worse off having more information than is necessary. Conversely, you can be really bad off. If I can use that phrasing, excuse me. This is Bombay got me burped. If you don't have enough information and you make a decision based on half the information, because if you had all the information, you'd have made a different decision. Didn't do that. So those situations exist, man. We here to tell you. Take it from us. Take it from 100+ years of experience on this planet. Make wise decisions. Get pertinent information. Stop putting yourself in bad situations because you think you're mature. Because mature people, they go out and collect information. They survey the landscape. They bring that information back, call it intelligence, and they say, "Hey, look, it's looking kind of grim." And the older you get, I don't care who you are, unless you're 1% man, your options do dwindle. I'm here to tell you firsthand. I don't have the options now at 52 that I had at 42, that I had at 47. And mainly, that's because I've taken myself out of there. I'm still relevant in a lot of circles, but you know what? I realize those circles aren't the circles I want to run in anymore. So, you know what? I like, even though normally on a Monday night I might be watching football, I like my Monday nights kind of quiet. Yeah, I'm sitting here with my kitty. Yeah, he's mad because I'm giving him some attention. You know, tongue in cheek, that's how pussies are. You gotta give them some attention. If not, they go kind of rebel and buck. But hey, that's okay. That's okay. I'm here to handle it. Uncle Ron's got a hand on it.
Let me read Denise's comment. She said, "When you have too much, when my husband was alive, we always tried to make sure we were safe. That's why I say too mature and responsible people. Yeah. Safety is the key at the end of the day, and that's one of the things that's always important. And that no matter where you work at, what you do, one of your in services probably always going to deal with safety on the job, safety at school, safety in the home environment. Because if you're not safe, shit, it's a chance that you may not live. So it's important. But when you find out that you're dealing with people who don't value safety and they want to be kind of hazardous that's a difficult word to say, but just kind of living on the edge and doing their own thing, you may say, nah, that ain't for me. That ain't for me because what we don't understand is that what's going on now is for our age in the late 40s, 50s, and the people that's out is probably the children of our age
Yeah.
that we don't know all of them. You may know some. If if you've been around and you're friends with them, you might know their kids, but you don't know these other kids. So you don't know what their thought process is. Yeah. You also have to take in the potential aspect of the epidemic of crack and crack babies and different things like that. That those kids are adults and their whole mental makeup is not the same, and they have different behaviors and some shit they just can't control. They can't control. So if they got a possession of a firearm, they may use it and not think nothing of it. If you don't want to be a part of that. So I'm always gonna say, just be safe, be sound. Got to always pay attention to your surroundings, and that's not just with dating. It's just overall with things going on. Denise said, as a single woman, I'm looking out for me and my taser. You got to do what you got to do. Definitely got to do what you got to do. And it's crazy. So, and that's what we talk about, the importance. Like these conversations are so extensive that it amazes me for some of y'all who try to start podcasts and start talking. You don't have shit to talk about because y'all don't never do no research. We talk about that.
Mhm.
That we only hit 3 talking points
Yeah.
and it's 10:37. And it's so many for men and so many for women and so many that's kind of mutual that hey, I don't even know. Should we give another shot at for men? Fear of rejection or being ghosted is a concern.
Mhm. I've been there. I will tell you, I've been ghosted. It was full disclosure. I've been ghosted by somebody who I'm still very cordial with. This was oof, about 15, 16 years ago. Now, ah, yeah, I guess I have to give the full story. This female and I had a physical relationship before. We didn't date though. This is the irony of the whole situation. So we actually decided to date years later. Now I can't recall what the specifics were for her, but she just went cold. No contact, no nothing. Sent me a message through Facebook that she no longer wanted to be in a relationship. What was I supposed to do? I picked up my pieces, went on about my business. Come to find out, there's a situation that was brewing. She didn't want me. She didn't want me to get caught up in. I was like, I respect it. I'm not the type that's going to blow up over something like that because for me, I'm always going to have a lot of life to live and a lot of love to give. And sometimes we give our love to the wrong person. It happens. You have to be in a mental space. And we always talk about mental health on this platform. You have to be in a mental space to where you can accept. This is serenity prayer. You have to be in a mental space to where you can accept certain outcomes, even though those outcomes are less than desirable, and you have to be able to move on. we talk about therapy. I personally speaking am not a proponent of men seeking out therapy because for men, you can sit there and talk to you blue in the face. But if you're not out doing, you wasting your breath. Some people gonna disagree with that. Some people gonna push back on that. The Dr. Orion Turban I mentioned talked about that in the podcast, the first 5 minutes. And that's where I got the Sigmund Freud reference about therapy. It's, if you want therapy as a man, find you a group of men who gonna say, okay, we understand that happened. We're gonna give you some time to sort that out. We're gonna give you some time to get right. But you got to get back in the game. And even if by getting back in the game means you got to get back to a state of stasis to where you can function and not lash out at people because the situation that ended was less than desirable, that's where you need to get back to. You need to get back to being a person who's okay with what life has given him, even though it may be less than what you wanted or optimal. Because we all have the ups and downs. Life's a roller coaster. It's how you handle the downs in relation to the highs that's going to let people know if you're stable. If a down situation has you contemplating checking out, and I don't mean self-deletion, just saying, you know what? I don't want to be around anybody. That's not necessarily a bad thing because you realize that you might be in a state where you know what? You're not going to be good to anyone. And that doesn't mean you're out drinking. That doesn't mean, hey, you might want to come to work, go home, pay your bills, and you just may want some time to decompartmentalize, sort things out, and then you back in the game. They gonna say, where you at, man? You say, hey, look, man, I was going through it, man. I had to, this is something I had to do by myself. And they gonna say, all right, we understand. We've been there. And especially for men, because women generally have their own outlets, if you will. As we age, especially once you get to your mid-30s into your 40s, if you have kids, you marry, you need to have outlets. I don't care whether it's working out, going to the gun range, getting together with your fellas, having a couple. You need to have an outlet. Hey, come on, boy. Come on, man. Yeah, I know. You need to have an outlet. You need to go somewhere where you can decompress, where you can release the stress. So you don't carry that with you every time that you go somewhere. Because as for black men in this country, life is stressful enough. You don't need a wife and kids. Add to it. It'll shorten your lifespan. It'll harden your arteries. It'll give you a heart attack or certainly create the conditions for one. So make sure that you are finding ways of blowing off steam. Anything that helps you mentally function well, I might add.
And let me add to that. And for Denise, you said, I have to get ready for my chemotherapy in the morning. Is there a way I can be notified when you guys are on again? We're on every Monday night, mostly every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Controversial Counselor, you will get notifications of my videos and the broadcast. So go on, subscribe to on YouTube the Controversial Counselor, the YouTube channel, and I definitely appreciate you coming in. I wish you well with your chemo.
Yep.
And all this stuff it's always love at the end of the day. So I'm glad that you like what you heard, and we just be free flowing, man. Just talking, just having conversations, and again, like I said, we didn't have times where the panel was full and people was giving their different perspectives. Right now, I don't worry about that. It could be me and Herb. or whatever. It could be me by myself. It could be her by herself. These topics
Mhm.
have to be discussed no matter
Yeah.
what. So it's just a matter of doing it. Um, and I lost my train of thought because it was something you had said, but then I read Denise's comment and know when you get
Actually,
emotional.
I
Oh no,
want to
I know what I was gonna say.
go ahead, Dave.
I know what I was gonna say, and I have been bringing it up, and I might have mentioned this before. And we talk about lifespan,
Mhm.
and we think about what they say that oh, well, the average black man, I don't know if it's black man or male, lived to be like 72. Women maybe like 78 or 79.
Yeah.
I say to myself, I'm 54. Damn. I only got, if I go by the average, I only got 18 years to live.
Yeah.
I got so much shit to do.
Yep.
So now you start pressing. And that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling pressure. Press. Because there's so many things and so many gifts I got to give to the world that not just the world, family, children, siblings. It's real. And every day you find out great ones has passed. Rest in peace, Deke, Dikembe
Yes.
Mutombo, died
Yeah,
at
man.
58. Someone who
Yeah.
built hospitals, a humanitarian in his
Yep.
country, built hospitals and all that, had brain cancer, died at 58. Wow. Wow. Then I just seen somebody while we was on here. Pete Rose died too.
Get out,
Yeah, I
Charlie
seen that.
Hustle.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I know people associate the gambling and all that. That had shit to do with his baseball skills and all of that. There's great ones leaving. And these are legendary people. So what I'm saying is for us ordinary people, we may be great to certain people, but we ain't global. We on the clock. Time is ticking. What we gonna do to be legendary? And that's what I aim for. That's what I aim for. It's just it's scary because that's the average. That don't mean you're gonna make it to that point.
Yeah.
It might not. I might say this, and y'all might like, "Yo, he was just on his podcast. He passed." Like, wow, I'm hurt. I was in the comment section, session, whatever. But it's scary. I don't know. Maybe because I know you have some people like, well, it's time to go. It's time to go. God, but I ain't ready to go. I ain't ready to go. And I always say that if I went out and got hit by a car and somebody say, well, it was his time, and somebody said that at my shit, they can kiss my motherfucking ass because for real, you better not say that shit. I'm telling you right now, you say that shit, I don't know what need to be chastised on you. But if I walked out and got hit by a car in the morning, and I say, well, God was the author, and it was his time to go, and he was needed. No, I got some pushback toward that shit. Serious. Seriously. So y'all can let people write y'all story, but that ain't gonna be my story.
So, yeah, we got the end date. The end date is somewhere way down the road.
Yeah.
I do wanna follow up. And like David said, I echo the sentiments with your chemo. Best wishes for a full recovery. Now, fellas, I'm gonna give you some game. Would you be willing to befriend a woman like Denise for nothing other than friendship? Nothing else. Let me tell you why it might be in your great interest, not best, but great interest. Because what if Denise got a clique? She's got some younger nieces, family members did. She says, you know what? I got somebody I want you to meet. I can't do anything with him, but I think you might enjoy him. When I call, he's always there with a kind word, keeps my spirits lifted even though I'm going through this. Check him out. Here's his number. Here's his Instagram. He's on Facebook. Send him a message and tell you that I sent you. Are you willing? Because we don't realize how a lot of romantic relationships start, where they get their genesis from, where the beginning ends. People are always asking, well, how did you meet? Usually, sometimes at work. I just happen to be at a work function and somebody introduced us, or I met through a family member. But those are vital links to meeting good people. So when you're asking, where are the good women at? Where are the good men at? They're in your social circle. But because you don't explore your social circle, you don't know who's in your social circle. Case in point, at David's sister's, I want to call her Tanya, at David's sister's function,
Tasha.
Tasha, yeah, there was probably 100 people there, at least from the brief synopsis that I did, and I'm like, this is breeding ground for people who are looking to date somebody. And there were a lot of people there that were coupled up, but I saw a lot of women who weren't. Opportune time for a fella to go in there and ply his trade. I don't know if any fellas did. I don't know if some information was exchanged that night. I don't know if bumpers got rubbed that night, signed that night. But those are the opportunities. Like David said, everybody there is chill. They've been pre-selected. So those people there, yeah, and you know what? These are right people. They cool. They here to have a good time. No muss, no fuss, nobody fighting, yelling, and cussing. Those are the situations to where you pick up leads. It's like being a salesperson. You got to start somewhere. Get your leads. Follow your leads up and sell to people who are willing to buy. No, everybody's not looking to have what you want or to accept what you're offering. And you have to accept that and move on. That's the reality of life. You might go apply at a job, and guess what? Your skill set doesn't fit what that job needs. And say, it's an impressive resume. We like that you attended school here. We like you have the experience, but you're not a good fit for us, unfortunately. Don't get rambunctious. Don't start saying things that are inappropriate that might ruin your pristine image. Just say, you know what? Okay, thank you. And ask this question. Do you happen to know of a company that can use my skill set? All they can tell you is no, but guess what? What if they tell you, hey, I have a friend who's operating a business. Here's his card. Give her a call. Being principled, respectful, resourceful will get you a whole lot farther than you ever thought possible. Most people that get the jobs that they have, they didn't walk in with a pristine resume and drop it on somebody. It's called word of mouth. And I'm going to point to Kamala Harris, current vice president. Why do you think she is what she is? And I know some people are going to say, well, she got there because she's giving some good neck. She got a high body count. Well, that might be true in some regards, but that's not true in totality. The right spot, right time. Joe got a little too sleepy at the controls, got waxed by the gavel, and now she's sitting where she is. Whether she ascends to the presidency or not, David said she's made her mark. And she has no children, but she's made her mark. She's going to be etched in history, world history.
She in the mix. That's all you could ask for. She in the mix, and that's where you gotta get. You gotta be in the mix. You gotta make the second round. You when you put your resume in, all you need is if when you get that phone call for that, you in the mix. Now it's up to you to do what you gotta do, and that's the same thing. And when you think about dating, if she texts you or she responds, you in the mix. What you gonna do with that information afterwards?
Mhm.
Or if you're a woman and you're like, damn, I really like him, or we exchange numbers, or whatever. Oh, he actually texted me. He actually called. He followed up. You in the mix. What you gonna do is the next the next question, and that's the bottom line. Either you hold up, you fold up.
Yeah.
When the lights get bright, are you still shining? So that's what we got to look at. And I know we it's so much more to cover, and I
Man.
enjoyed this conversation. So I ain't gonna let it die down. We may have to delve into the next segment next time with a couple more questions because at the end of the day, the better relationships we have, the better communication we have as people, the better our lives are. And no one expects, no, we ain't producing 100,000 people viewing this and all that. But all it takes is one or two people, big dogs that come across it. Uh, the next thing you know, you take off. And I can tell you, I've had some clips or some posts that went viral. I just didn't get credit for it. Shame on them. Shame on them. Uh, which is crazy. But so all it takes is people giving credit where credit is due. A lot of times we don't do that. Even right now, I got a, and it ain't much, but it's something to me that I got a TikTok video that's shit approaches like 60 some thousand views uh over I don't know. I probably was trolling the person or cracking jokes, but that's all it takes, whatever. In this day and age, that you put something out there and you send a message, and then people believe in it, and they follow you, and then somebody else catch on. The next thing you know, your impact is bigger. But you gotta consistency is the key to everything. You gotta stay the course. Keep knocking at the door. Somebody gonna answer. You're in a dating game, and you gotta end with someone. You keep knocking at the door. Sooner or later, she gonna answer. She might
Yeah.
answer with that negligee on you, like, "Oh shit!"
Ooh.
like, "Oh, I'm in. Come on in."
Yeah.
But a lot of it is to deal with genuine consistency. Uh, that's it. So we gonna get some closing comments, but we're not done with this subject. We may run it
Yeah,
back
by
for the
far.
next talking points because
By
we got
far.
we got a lot to talk about. And I know we always go be a competition now on Monday nights with Monday Night Football, and you guys sitting there watching football, and y'all lonely as shit. Y'all lonely as shit watching football, and like, damn, I'm single as fuck. Maybe you should pause the football game and come on and see what's up or see what people talking. But I can't decide that you grown. Y'all do what y'all want to do. But Herb, what's your closing comment to everything that was said tonight? And it was a lot said.
I will read this. Dating for many people is a tug of war. How does one succeed in a vacuous, undefined vacuum with a stench so grand is not suitable for woman or man? Simple, the wolf says. Find someone who is worthy of hanging onto that rope and pull and keep pulling through the rope burn until the skin is gone. If that sounds like love, then perhaps I missed the mark with this. I'm not speaking of love, but I'm speaking of commitment, which eclipses hope, drowns out love, and should bind two people until the twine unwinds and dematerializes in your hands. The extreme discomfort should be evident and evidence that when things become tough, you held firm to that rock and that rock didn't move. That's commitment, and that's what you should be seeking. I'm not going to use the Big Bad Wolf's closing because he ain't here. He's going to be mad that I rearranged his furniture, but he'll get over it.
All right. And for me, what I'm going to say is, it's a lot to it. And when you think about this whole, dating disasters and who gets burned, the bottom line is it's a lot of things there's so many things that you have to think ahead for. But the bottom line is you have to use your head and your heart. You have to have a balance. If one outweighs the other, you may get burned. But if you had an even kill, and that person makes you feel good all around, and despite what anybody has to say, or any of your past experiences, or your exes that won't let go, do what makes you feel good and try to move forward and live life. Because you're on the clock. We all are on the clock. Tick tock, tick tock. And we out on to the next one. We don't know what the subject matter going to be, because it might be something pressing that come up and we have to bypass this and then come back to this. But for right now, we got a lot of points left to talk about on this. Remember when in the introduction, I said, shit, these are shows in itself. So appreciate everybody that chimed in, but it ain't over. You can always go back and watch the replay. Please like and share this video. Please watch your shorts, the reels from this broadcast. Let's just keep pushing forward and having these great conversations. And everybody, be safe, be great. We out. On to the next one. Peace.
All right, people.